Shalom, shalom, everyone, and welcome to my channel, Real Serious Productions. I go by the name of Miss EYG. And to all my new viewers, welcome, welcome, welcome. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. So, and welcome to the Biblical Truth Unveiled series. And in today's video, as you may see below, we will be talking about and be discussing one of the very, very, very main reasons why our Hebrew people are in the predicament that they're in today when it comes to the mixing of, I guess you guys call it interracial relationships, and mixing with other seeds and things like that. Now, before we get into it, I do want to point out that this is not a racial speech. This is not a racial slur in any shape or form, okay? Everything, as always, that I will be speaking about is going to come directly from the Bible itself. And we're going to get into, the deeper meanings and things like that. So again, this is not a racial speech. This is not a hate speech. This is not a racial slur in any shape or form, okay? I'm not judging anyone. I'm not pointing fingers or trying to put anyone to shame, but it is my duty to share, as always, the knowledge that had been given to me from the Most High. Okay, so I'm very aware that this is going to be one of the very touchy subjects, especially for our people, especially in this day and age, because there are a lot of interracial relationships and marriages, because it is, it's no secret that it's looked at to be the norm, that it's looked at as something being okay. But we're going to look at biblical scriptures that tell us exactly the opposite, that it's not okay. So this is one of the main reasons why the Most High hid his face from us, alongside with idolatry and worshiping other gods, wood and stone. Our people are continuing to this day mixing our seed, mixing the Most High's chosen people, which is us, the Hebrews, right, are mixing their seed with non-Israelites, or what you call today what we call today is a interracial relationship, right? And it's not okay. But like I said, we're going to get into biblical scriptures about it and why exactly, or not why, but the Most High. Well, yeah, a little bit why the Most High said that we weren't supposed to be mixing our seed with other seed, or we weren't supposed to be mixing with any other nation. He wanted his bloodline to stay authentic, which is Hebrew marriages and Hebrew marriages only, right? So we're going to get into it with scripture. So without further ado, everyone grab your Bibles and let's hop right into this knowledge. So as I said before, Israel, or us, the Hebrews, are still practicing certain customs that our forefathers have made years ago, right? And it's another reason why we're in bondage. Also, that goes along with the worshiping other gods, wood and stone. If you guys haven't watched parts 1, 2, and 3 of the Sabbath worship and the Sunday deception, I would do that as well. But yeah, so as far as this video, everyone wants to say or believe that interracial relationships and marriages are okay. And that homosexuality and things like that are okay. But the Most High's word tell us the quite opposite, right? People want to say that Hebrews can marry, it's okay to marry whites, Mexicans, Italians, Chinese, Arabs, India, and so forth, or Indians, sorry, and so forth and so forth, right? So basically that it's okay for a black or brown, or what we really are, Hebrews, to be in an interracial relationship where anyone that's not a brown skin colored person or a Hebrew person. No, it's not racist. Okay. It's nothing to do with being racist, and it's not anything that's judgmental. But as I said, we're going to get into scriptures that actually said otherwise, because Yahuwah, our Heavenly Father, the creator of all things and creator of heaven and earth, he has certain laws that he put in place for his chosen people, right? Which is us. He had laws and reasonings why he didn't want us mixing our seed with other nations, right? He had his reasons. And we're going to get into actually what those laws are. Okay. So like I said, this is not a racial speech at all. It's not anything racist. I'm not a racist. Okay. I'm not trying to put a color on things, but I'm going to give you exactly what the Most High said for himself. Okay. So, and if you guys kind of think about this, keep the story in mind too, and I'm going to tell you exactly why. The story of Abraham and Sarah and Hagar. We have to keep their story in mind in just a little bit, and I'll tell you why. But let's go to this first scripture, and we're going to go to Deuteronomy 7. So we're going to go to Deuteronomy 7. And we're going to start at verse 1. Okay? When the Almighty Yahuwah thy Father shall bring thee into the land whither thou goest to possess it, and hast cast out many nations before thee, the Hittites, the Jerushites, the Amorites, the Canaanites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, 7 nations greater and mightier than thou. And when the Almighty thy Yahuwah shall deliver thee before thee, thee shall smite them and utterly destroy them. Thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor shew mercy unto them. So he said not to show mercy onto these other nations, right? These are other nations. And we're going to get into exactly who those nations are in a bit. Just bear with me. Verse 3, neither shalt thou make marriages with them. Thy daughter thou shalt not give unto his son, nor his daughter shalt thou take unto thy son. Okay? For they will turn away, verse 4, for they will turn away thy son from following me, and they may serve other gods, so will the anger of the Almighty Yahuwah be kindled against you and destroy thee suddenly. Right? But thus shall ye deal with them, ye shall destroy their altars, break down their images, cut down their groves, and burn their images with fire. So the Most High is saying all these other nations, he didn't want us marrying them. He didn't want us to give our sons to their daughters, or vice versa, give our daughters to their sons, right? He said he didn't want, these are other nations. So there's a reason. The Most High is going to do everything with a particular reason. So if he said with a reason, do not mingle and take marriages and give your sons and daughters to marriage with their sons and daughters, that's for a reason, because he doesn't want his particular people, which is us, mixing our seed with their seed, right? Because he knows that he chose us. We're a special particular people unto him. And he knows that if we do mingle with them, that they can and will turn us against following him, because he's the Almighty. So if they're following another religion, if you're married to that person, they're going to turn you from following the Most High and turning you to following their God or their deity, wood and stone, that we spoke about, right? in other videos. Yeah, we spoke about him in other videos. So he's saying that he would rather you guys just burn their altars, burn their graven images, and put away these things of these other nations. We're not supposed to mingle along with them. Why? Because they will turn your face from the Almighty Most High. And we should know by now that the Most High is jealous. He doesn't want any other God put before him. All right? Even in the sake of a marriage, he doesn't want any other God put before him, because it is a sure way to destruction, right? But let's keep going. Verse 6, we're still in chapter 7. For thou art an holy people unto the Almighty Yahuwah thy Father. That Almighty Yah thy Father have chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth. The Almighty Yah did not set his love upon you, nor choose you because you were more in number than any people, for you were the fewest of all people, right? So this is the Most High saying here that he, just like I said, he doesn't want you to mingle with these people, because we are chosen. We are his chosen people. We are his chosen seed. So he doesn't want his perfect, well, not perfect, but his chosen seed to be mixed in with an unchosen seed, right? That, and then hence fast forward, or why all this destruction is in the world with these other nations, is because we've done this wicked thing before him, but he didn't want it to be done. So this is not just for now. I mean, for at the time of Deuteronomy, this was to be, as I said in the last video, his laws are forever, right? All of his laws were meant to be forever. All his covenants was meant to be forever. So again, the Most High did not want his particular people that he called to be special unto him to mix with other nations. He didn't want it to happen, right? Any nation. If you're not Hebrew, brown skin, he did not want you to mix your seed with another nation, okay? It's not my words. It's clearly what the Most High is saying here, okay? And he said that he didn't choose us because we were more than other people. He said he chose us because we were fewer, lesser than everyone else in the world. So think about that. Okay, but we're gonna keep going. Where did I stop? 8. But because the Almighty Yahuwah loved you, and because he would keep the oath which he had sworn unto your fathers, hath the Almighty Yahuwah brought you out with a mighty hand, and redeemed you out of the house of bondmen, from the hand of Pharaoh, king of Egypt, meaning slavery, right? He's delivering you out of slavery, just like he did then, he will do it again. Verse 9, know therefore, that the Almighty Yahuwah thy Father, he is Yahuwah, and the faithful Yahuwah, which keepeth covenant and mercy with them that love him, and keep his commandments to 1,000 generations. So that's what I was saying before, 1,000 generations. So this was meant to be forever, not just a particular time here in Deuteronomy, but forever. Thousands of generations, mean generation after generation after generation. We were not supposed to be mixing with our seed, or being in interracial relationships with other nations. If you not of Hebrew or brown, we wasn't supposed to mix with other nations. Says it clearly right here. It was for generations, for thousands of generations. That means forever. That's his way of saying forever. So you're probably wondering, like, okay, well, who are these other nations exactly? Who am I really talking about? And well, I don't know any other better way to say it other than, those who are not of brown color or brown skin, or quote unquote called black individuals. We're not supposed to be mixing with any other nation other than black or Hebrew people, right? But biblically, the first mentionings of the people that the Most High told us not to intermarry with were Hittites. And you can find that in Genesis 10. So that, like he said, there were 7 nations, right, that he said that we were not to mingle with. He said the Hittites, right, the Jerusites, right, the Amorites, the Canaanites, right? So if you really get deeper into it, all of these 7 nations, right, that he was speaking about, that he said that was greater than us. If you look at it, all those the nations that I spoke about in this chapter, as well as in Genesis 10, they are all pretty much Canaanites. They just have different names, but they're all descendants, one way or another, from Canaan. And we all know that the Most High himself cursed Canaan after his father Ham uncovered Noah in his nakedness, right? We all know that story, right? The Most High cursed Canaan. So why would the Most High want, and these are all Canaanites, the names that I just mentioned are all Canaanites, are all descendants of Canaan. So if the Most High picked us to be his particular people and special to him, right? And we are of a royal priesthood, and we're, like I said, we're special to him. He said it there himself, and I read that as well in Deuteronomy 7. So if he know that he cursed Canaan's descendants, that means forever, why would he want his particular chosen special people mixing in with a cursed nation, or a descendants of people that he knew that would be cursed? The Most High doesn't do anything by accident. He does everything according to his will and his plan. So why would he want his particular special people to intermarry or be mixed seed with Canaan's descendants that he knew that he cursed? He cursed them back in Genesis. We know the story, right? So all these are descendants of Ham, descendants of Canaan, that he cursed. So why would he want his people to mix in with him? And all these other nations that I just presented, they are the descendants of Ham or Canaan, one way or another. Let's see, you got the Hittites first. They are the sons of Heth, which is the second born son of Canaan. So Hittites. I'm going to tell you a quick story about that as well. So make sure to remember that. And of course, they're of Ham's descendants because Canaan was Ham's son. Okay. Let's see who else. And also Esau, after hearing his mother and father warn Jacob before sending him off about how important it is not to marry a Canaanite, Esau did it to spite his mother and father and went against their wishes, and he actually intermarried with a Hittite or Hittite, right? So that's something to think about. The Jerusites or Jergashicites, sorry, don't judge me on my pronunciation. Let's just excuse my mispronunciation. They were also the sons of Canaan, and they also accompanied the land that we were to possess, right? To be kicked out of the land for us to take over that land. Israel is who I'm speaking of. Who else? The Ammonites. or Amorites, sorry. They were also the sons of Canaan. They were accompanied also, the promised land that we were to possess. They were over there and before being kicked out. And they are related to the Moabites, which is also another nation that the Most High said that he did not want us to intermarry with. And Ammon, or Ammon. Again, guys, excuse my mispronunciation. These words are a little bit difficult sometimes. The Perizzites, they also inhabited the land of Canaan before Israel got there. The Hittites and Hivites, they sound similar, but they're kind of like, they're just more of Canaan's descendants, children, grandchildren, and all that. The Jebusites, like I said, they dwelled also in the land of Canaan. So basically, like I said, all of these nations that I am speaking of are pretty much descendants, sons of Ham, Canaanites. Hit the name Canaanites. So these are who the Most High cursed. He cursed Canaan, right? Through Ham. He cursed Ham's descendants through Canaan, right? We know the story. If you haven't read it, I would go back and read it so you can understand exactly what I'm talking about, what the Most High said when he cursed Canaan. That meant not just Canaan, all of his descendants, all of his children, grandchildren, and everyone that's coming from Canaan would be cursed. Okay? And another thing to actually look at too, when the Most High, the story of Abraham and Sarah and Hagar, right? When the Most High changed Abraham's name, remember, Abraham's name was first Abram, right? And then he ended up mixing his seed with Hagar, the Egyptian, and then that's when his name was changed to Abraham, right? Abraham. Why? Because now he's the father of many nations. So not only is he Hebrew, he's now Abraham because he intermarried and had a seed with Hagar, which was a Hamite, right? Ham. Abraham. Get it? So that's something that you should look into as well. Another thing that I want to actually kind of put with this, I wasn't going to put it in, but I was doing some reading, rereading. And as I was rereading the Old Testament, I came about this, and I thought for the sake of the video that it kind of fits where I was going with this whole thing. So we're going to go to Genesis, and this is about when Dinah, the only daughter of Jacob, however you may say it, was defiled, right? And we're going to look at a few things that stood out to me that I knew about, but something about this time around, I guess because I knew that I was going to make this video, it kind of helped me, fit it together to make more sense, if you will. So let's go to Genesis 34, and we are going to start let's start at verse 1, because I want you guys to understand the entire ordeal. So, Genesis 34, 1. And Dinah, the daughter of Leah, which she bore unto Jacob, went out to see the daughters of the land. And when Shechem, the son of Hamor, the Hivite, remember we were just talking about the Hivite is Canaan's seed, right? We were just talking about that. So pay attention to this. The prince of the country saw her. He looked at her and lay with her and defiled her. So he defiled Jacob's daughter, the only daughter that he had, right? He had 12 sons, but no one really mentions poor little Dinah, right? She was there. So, but she was defiled by this Hivite, right? Remember, Hivite is just another way of saying Canaanite. So she was defiled by a Canaanite. Like I was just saying, Most High didn't want his seed to mix with the Canaanites. But here's Dinah is the only Hebrew woman of Jacob at this time, the only daughter, right, that he had. And she was defiled by this Canaanite. So let's keep going. And his soul clave unto Dinah, the daughter of Jacob, and loved the damsel, and spoke kindly unto the damsel. So he loved her. And Shechem spake unto his father Hamor, saying, Get me this damsel to wife. And Jacob heard that he had defiled Dinah, his daughter. Now his sons were with his cattle in the field, and Jacob held his peace until they were come. So Jacob found out that his daughter was defiled, but his sons were out in the field. He said, no, I'm going to keep my peace. I'm going to not say anything, and I'm going to wait until my sons get in. It sounds like Hebrew activity, because that's exactly what we do. We said, okay, wait till my sons get home. We're going to handle this. It's not funny, but I just thought that's a good connection, because that's something that us brown people do, you know. You defile one of our family members, we're going to come at you. Verse 6. And Hamor, the father of Shechem, went out unto Jacob to commune with him. And the sons of Jacob came out of the field when they heard it. And the men were grieved, and they were very wroth. They were very angry, because he had brought fully in Israel and lain with Jacob's daughter, which thing ought not to be done. So this is the Most High letting us know in this story that he was not playing around when he said that they knew that it was not ought to be done. They knew it was against the Most High. And this is in Genesis. It was against the Most High in Genesis to mingle with these other nations. We were never supposed to do it. This is in Genesis. The first book. This is in Genesis. The law that I read was the previous scripture was in Deuteronomy, but this is in Genesis, and Hivite, as I just read, is a Canaanite. So this is in Genesis. The Most High didn't want his people to mingle with other seeds from the beginning. Okay. But let's speak. And they said, you know, they knew, they were mad. They were so upset. Jacob's sons were so mad and angry that this happened to their sister, because they knew this was against the Most High. They knew this was not supposed to happen, right? And Hamor communed with them, saying, The soul of my son Shechem, longed for your daughter. I pray you, give her him to wife. And make ye marriage with us, and give your daughter unto us, and make our daughters unto you. So, the man that this Hamite I'm going to say it right here because I don't want to confuse anyone. Hamor, which is the father of Shechem, Shechem is the guy that defiled Dinah. But his father and him both are saying, look, my son, he loves your daughter. Why don't you give her to him to wife? And I have daughters that I'll give to you, your sons, to wife. That's what they were saying. But this is what's going to happen. And ye shall dwell with us. This is his father. He's keep talking. He said, you know, make marriage. Let my son have your daughter for a wife. And this is what he's also saying. He said, and ye shall dwell with us, and the land shall be before you. Dwell and trade ye therein, and get you possessions therein. So he's saying, let's make a trade. Remember, if you guys saw if you guys were looking at my a deeper look playlist or series, when I was talking about the story of Abraham and Sarah and Rebecca and Isaac, when you are taking a wife, pretty much you're making a trade with her her father, her brother, or whoever house she's in, that's what you do when you're trying to take her as a wife. You make a trade. So they're asking for this from Jacob and his son, saying, hey, let's make a trade for your daughter Dinah because my son is in love with her, right? And get their possessions therein. And Shitrim said unto her father and unto her brethren, let me find grace in your eyes, and what ye shall say unto me, I will give. Ask me never so much draughty gift, and I will give according as you say unto me. But give me the damsel to wife. So he's really adamant about making this woman his wife. He's in love with Dinah. But listen to what Jacob is saying. This is what Jacob's saying, and this is the point that I'm trying to make here. And the sons of Jacob answered Shitrim and Hamor his father deceitfully, and said, because he had defiled Dinah their sister. And they said unto them, we cannot do this thing, to give our sister to one that is uncircumcised, for that were a reproach unto us. So if you look up the word uncircumcised, yes, uncircumcised in this case, it has nothing to do with the penis. Okay, I know what I thought that when I first read it, that that is what the Most High is saying. He just have to have he has an uncircumcised penis. But if you look at this story, why would they be talking about his penis at a sense, right? So when I look up the word uncircumcised, okay, uncircumcised mean uncircumcision of the heart, meaning heart is not circumcised or in the will of the Most High, right? And when I looked up what uncircumcised meant, it has a couple of meanings, and one of the meanings was irreligious and or heathen. So in this sense, uncircumcision he was saying, we can't do this thing. We can't give our sister to you to marry because you're uncircumcised, meaning that you're not of our religion. You are heathen to our religion, meaning that we follow the Most High, and we follow the Most High's laws, statutes, and commandments and customs, and you don't. So we can't give our sister to you for that particular reason because you don't know the Most High. We do, right? This is what he was saying. For it is a reproach unto us. So reproach just means, it's a disapproval. It's a disapproval. The Most High doesn't approve it. And I just read the scriptures that showed you that because they're Hivites, the Most High won't approve it. Right? It has nothing to do with circumcision of the penis, but circumcision of the heart, because their heart is not toward the Most High. They don't know the Most High because they're of another nation. Get it? That's why the Most High said they will don't intermarry with other nations, because they will turn your heart from him. This is what that kind of comes together, right? Yes, so if you keep going through verses 15 and so forth, you will see that it says, he was saying, okay, you guys aren't circumcised. You don't know the Most High. But if you are willing to circumcise your heart, and you're willing to get to know the Most High and follow in all his laws, statutes, and commandments, then yes, we will be able to give our sister to you to wife. And yes, she can be his wife. But if you're not going to do that, then guess what? It's not going to happen, because it is an abomination or a disapproval of us, to the Most High from us to do so. So if you guys are not going to follow the laws and statutes and commandments of the Most High, then we're not going to do this. So when you read on and you get to verses 19 through, 22, you'll see that they said, okay, he wanted Dinah badly for his wife. So he said, okay, he gave in. He said, okay, we'll circumcise our heart. We'll follow the laws. So they made a deal, basically. He said that he would do it, and he will follow the Most High, basically, just to have Dinah as his wife. He said, they made a deal and said that they would do it. But then when you get down to they said, even in verse 24, it said every man Shechram and his father, or Shechram and his father Hamor, had every man circumcised, meaning every man that was within their gates and within their household start following the customs of the Most High, not circumcision of just the penis, but circumcision of the heart, to follow in the Most High's laws, to know the Most High, to be a servant, and if you will, of the Most High, because that's what had to happen in order for Dinah to be taken to him as a wife, right? Otherwise, it was going to be an abomination towards the Most High, and the Most High did not want that, right? Because like we just said, the Most High, he doesn't recommend it, right, to intermarry with other nations. If these other nations are going to follow after him in his laws, statutes, and commandments, then yes, he will allow your marriage to be with that person, but that person has to know him personally. That person has to follow his law, statutes, and commandments, and that person has to, as scripture is saying, to be circumcised of heart toward the Most High. Okay? And yes, it said that they made a deal. But she was in their household, obviously, so they must have done it. But I want to get to a certain scripture. Actually, I want to point out something before I go on with the topic of the video. I know I'm a little bit off topic, but I'm trying to kind of drive it home here. But I just wanted to point out something that stood out to me. And it came to pass on the third day, when they were sore, the two sons of Jacob, which was Simeon and Levi, Dinah's brethren, took each man his sword and came upon the city boldly and slew all males. So they made a deal, and Dinah was in their home, but now Simeon and Levi was like, nah, we can't let them get away with that. But I'm going to show you what they said in a second. So they killed all the men. And 26, and they slew Hamor and Shechram his son with the edge of the sword, and took Dinah out of Shechram's house and went out. So they killed her husband, her new husband, her father-in-law that they just made a deal with and everything, and they killed all the men, and they took their sister back out of the house of the Shechram and his father that they just made a deal with and made them circumcise their hearts towards the Most High with and everything. They said no. They went in and they killed them and took their sister back. Okay. Verse 27, and the sons of Jacob came upon the slain and spoiled the city because they had defiled their sister. So they did this because they were still angry at the fact that this man just defiled their sister. They was like, nah, we're not going to let him get away with this. We're going to still kill you. I don't know if the Most High, was okay with that, or did he punish him for that later, but that's what they did. Verse 28, they took their sheep and their oxen and their asses, and that which was in the city, that which was in the field, and all their wealth, and their little ones, and their wives, took them captive, and spoiled even all that was in the house. So they not only killed these men, they took their wives, they took their children, they took their cattle, they took their wealth, everything that was in their being or in their vicinity, in their possession. Not only did they kill them, they took everything that was in their possession, their wives, children, and everything, right? Verse 30, and Jacob said unto Simeon and Levi, you have troubled me to make me stink among the inhabitants of the land, among the Canaanites. There's that word, Canaanites. So they're all Canaanites, right? They're in the land of the Canaanites. And the Perizzites. Remember I said those two. And I being few in number, they shall gather themselves together against me and slay me, and I shall be destroyed, I and my house. So Jacob is saying, why did you guys do this? He's talking to Levi and Simeon. He's saying, why did you do this? Now that you have slain all these men, now you're going to make me a target now, and people are going to come after me, and I'm few in number, right? You're making me a target by doing this. Why would you do this, right? And this is what they answer. And this is why I wanted to say this, because I thought it was kind of ironic, and it's something very similar to what us black people would say. And they said, should he deal with our sister as with an harlot? So their answer to their father as to why did they do this, their answer was like, well, basically he treated our sister like a harlot. Was he supposed to treat our sister like a harlot? Or was he supposed to treat our sister like a whore? And I thought that was kind of ironic, because I'm like, man, that's something a black person would say, you know? That's something a Hebrew would say. I'm like, huh. When you read scriptures, you know, stuff like that kind of jumps off the page at you, like, huh, these got to be black people talking like this. Like, and another thing is, if you guys, I want to basically just go on the record here. And I said that because when I thought of that, if you guys have, like me, there are a lot of black movies that we love to watch, right? And one of my favorites used to be The Wood, right? And if you guys seen that movie, you know what scene I'm talking about. So that's why I said, like, huh, that kind of reminded me of, you know, black people. That's something a black person would say. So when I read that, I was like, man, you know what that reminded me of? That reminded me of the scene in The Wood when she told her brother that the boy grabbed her bottom, grabbed her booty while she was playing rope, and he came to fight him, and he was like, you think my sister is a whore? You think my sister is a hooker or something? And he was like, no, I just think she's pretty. So when I read that, that's kind of where my mind went to. I'm like, man, that sounds like that scene in The Wood. I'm like, yeah, that's definitely something a brown person would say, a Hebrew person would say. So I just wanted to share that part. But the entire reasoning of me, I know I got a little bit off topic, and I'm sorry about that. But the entire reasoning of me reading this entire situation with Dinah is that they knew from the beginning of time, because they were following the Most High's laws and statutes and commandments, they knew that he did not want them intermarrying with any other nations. The only reason why they made an exception is because they circumcised their hearts. They made a deal. If you guys circumcise your heart, even though you are of another nation, if you guys circumcise your hearts, follow the Most High's law, statutes, and commandments, so you're not leading Dinah away from the Most High to follow after your gods. If you're following the same God, or the same God, which is the Almighty Yahuwah, then we can allow our sister to marry you. So I said that to say, I don't want it to seem like, you know, there is a complete abomination against intermarrying with a Hebrew. If that other, you can marry and with another nation, as long as that nation, as you see, is willing to circumcise their heart, meaning to join in with following the Most High's law, statutes, and commandments. And if not, then no, it is an abomination, because as the Most High said, they will lead you to follow their gods and lead you basically to destruction. And we are his people. We're his chosen special people. So of course he's jealous. We should know this by now, that he doesn't want us following another god or deity. He wants us to follow in him, because he has specific value to us. He has great value to us, right? And that value cannot be defiled by another nation, if that other nation is going to deem you to follow their God. Okay, so that's what I meant with that. But that will be all. That's going to conclude this video. This is part 1. So part 2, we will be discussing, there were more than just the Canaanites that the Most High said that would be off limits to us, the Hebrews, that he didn't want us to intermarry with, again, unless they were willing to follow his law, statutes, and commandments. But if not, yeah, we're going to get into the next video on who those other nations are. We're going to get into, it's a lot of tricky ideas going on about who are the heathens, who are considered the heathens, who are considered the strangers, and who are considered the Gentiles, okay? And I'm going to show you the difference between the three, okay? And again, we're going to speak more on also what the Most High said about intermarrying with strange women, particularly, okay, for our men. Because our men are supposed to be the leaders, but you can't lead a harlot. You can't lead a woman who's following after other gods, right? And vice versa. But that's what part 2 is going to be on. So that is it for this video. Stay tuned for part 2. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Comment if you have any questions. Please subscribe, share, do all that good stuff. Until next video, I love you. Mwah. Shalom.